Hello everyone, Fox here, and this is it, the beginning of 2019, the first State of Decay 2 video for the brand new year. Hope you guys all had a great Christmas, a great New Year's, but it's time to get back on the grind, at least for me, and it's time to take a look at all of the bases in Cascade Hills and give them a ranking from worst to best. A few things before we get started though. First off, remember that I have personally reviewed in depth every one of these bases, so if any of them pique your curiosity, check out the base review playlist. Next, there are 7 bases in every region, but there aren't necessarily going to be 7 rankings. If 2 of the bases are really similar in strategic value, I will combine them into a single rating tier. And lastly, keep in mind that this rating is subjected to my preferences and my prejudices. As a result, I'm not just going to look at a base by its cost, by what it has to offer and its facility customizations. I'm also going to look at its geographic location. And that means that if it's really far away from the center of the map, or if it's just out in the middle of nowhere, then it's definitely going to get a harsher rating. But you might not give a crap about driving distances, and if that's the case, if you disagree with any of these rankings, let me know down in the comments section what your list would be. Alrighty though, it's time to get started, and let's begin by just talking about the region itself, the land of Cascade Hills, aka the Foothills. As I said, every region has 7 bases in it, and of the 3 regions of Cascade Hills, Mayor Valley, and Drucker County, this is kind of the medium difficulty area. By that I mean, the land is harder to traverse, it's more mountainous than Mayor Valley, but not nearly as mountainous and as difficult to traverse as Drucker County, so it's right in the middle. Also, it's worth noting that the bases in this region are on the weaker side. I would say that they are generally below average. And one of the ways that you can tell this is that out of the 7 bases, only 2 of them have 2 large facility customization options. All of the other bases, the other 5, either have 1 or none. And none of the bases have 3 open large facility customization options. But now it's time for the rating, starting with Number 5, the Justino House. So this base is the starter base, the tutorial base. Each of the regions have a differently named but basically identical home like this. And this base doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't strictly have to have a low rating just because it's such a basic base. But in this case, it does because it is really far away, tucked in the corner of the map. The upside to this base is that it does come with 6 built-in beds, so it's actually pretty easy to just start in this base, build up to 6 community members, and launch into a large base. It also has 3 small facility options, which allows you to, of course, have an infirmary and a workshop, and hey, that's about all a small community needs. Moving on, though, to Number 4, More and More Distributing. I know this is going to break some hearts because I know there were some people who said that they really liked M&M, but it's just way too out in the middle of nowhere for my tastes. Not only is it towards one of the corners of the map, but that area is just wilderness. It's not even surrounded by a town center for easy looting. And this means that whenever you make allies and make enclaves and you have to do missions, it means you're going to have to drive really far away if you get allies on the far west side of the map. That said, I cannot take it away from MMMM Distributing that it is one of the 2 bases in the entire region that has 2 open large facilities available for customization. But I would gladly sacrifice one of them to be closer to civilization. Moving on to Number 3, Church on the Hill and the Bridgeport. These 2 bases are honestly really similar. They're both centrally located. They both have 1 large facility option and several small facilities. They're not bad as a stepping stone kind of base if you just want to get out of the Justino House and have a large facility. The Bridgeport is a little bit further away than the church, but it's only 500 influence to move in. It's super cheap, while basically you're paying another 500 influence to be a little bit closer to the middle of the map with the church. The church also has the bell tower feature, which allows you to manipulate zombie attacks. Check out the church review if you want to know more. Overall, these are great temporary bases. You might want to move into these for a time and then move into perhaps these next 2 bases. Number 2, lock and key self-storage and the corner office. Both of these bases have really powerful advantages. Lock and Key is the larger base, being a 6-man 1,500 influence base, while the corner office is a 5-man 1,000 influence base, yet it has a way to compensate. What makes Lock and Key powerful is that it has 6 small facility customization options, which is pretty nuts, and it has a really strong passive bonus that is plus 45 additional storage capacity to all resource types. Then on the other hand, you've got the corner office, which has 1 less option, so 5 small facility options, but that's still a lot. And so while it does have 1 less option and it doesn't have the crazy built-in storage, it has, on the other hand, absolutely the best location on the map. Not only is it located in the middle of a town center, meaning easy initial looting, but it is right in the middle of the map, bullseye, giving it massive command over the entirety of Cascade Hills. Now the downside to these bases, and it does count more against Lock and Key than it does against the corner office, is that neither of them have 2 large facilities, which may start to get on your nerves this deep into the bases. Lock and Key's plus 45 storage could be argued to compensate for it, but what weakens this advantage for Lock and Key self-storage is that the largest base in the entire region, the Container Fort, also is a base that provides bonus storage to your resources. The issue here is that if you're a smaller base and you don't have any kind of unique feature that really makes you feel different from the largest base in the region, then the base winds up feeling more like a stepping stone to the biggest base rather than an alternative. And Lock and Key's benefits, the additional storage capacity, implies that it wants you to stay there for a while. But why stay there for a while when there is a bigger and better base that's going to do kind of the same thing but more? And, well, that leads us to number 1, the Container Fort. This is the biggest base in Cascade Hills, and it is Lord of the Bases. Container Fort is unique amongst the largest bases in that it is the only one that doesn't have 3 large facilities, which makes it sound like it's probably going to be not too good. However, it has ways to compensate. First off, the entire base is basically fully customizable with 6 open small facilities and 2 open large facilities. But to sweeten the deal even further, it comes in with plus 8 built-in beds and plus 10 storage to all resource types. And those benefits could easily be argued to rival a 3rd large facility option, and indeed there's a thing called the Spartan Barracks, a large facility that houses 8 people in it but for a morale penalty. But this place gets you the 8 beds without the morale penalty, and you get plus 10 resource capacity to all resources to boot. What this base does better than all of the other bases in the game, though, is provide excellent sustainability. Because of that giant plus 8 beds built into the base, it means that you likely don't have to use any outposts for additional bed slots. And instead, you can just use them to minimize any of your daily resource losses. For example, I used a whole bunch of material outposts to counteract my -5 materials per day. So to summarize, I recommend getting out of the Justino House as quickly as possible. I recommend passing on more and more distributing. You can use the Bridgeport or the Church on the Hill as a stopgap solution, as a stepping stone to launch into a more permanent base. And the bases that serve as good long-term homes are Lock and Key self-storage, the corner office, and of course, the Titanic Container Fort. And hey, that is that. I did intentionally keep these descriptions brief because I wanted to keep the video as short as possible. If you want more detail, check out the reviews individually. If you don't agree with the list, let me know down in the comments section. Show me what your list of the bases would be, and tell me why you would make those changes. Like this video if it was interesting or helpful. Subscribe to my channel for future State of Decay 2 content, and of course, remember that you don't have to be good to get good.